On this episode, we 100% get the Platinum Trophy for bragging rights. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia, one of your co-hosts. I am a Florentine nobleman during the Renaissance, and I'll stop at nothing on my quest to get vengeance against Rodrigo Borgia.
Very nice. My name is Robbie. I'm a recent addition to Noble Team, who must now do whatever it takes to get a new AI off the planet because it could change the war forever.
Who were you last week?
Last week I was Gino from Super Mario RPG.
Awesome, and I was BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like
the more recent one.
Yeah, it was like a reference to the one that's coming out, which looks really awesome, actually. The Wolfenstein 2. Did you play the reboot?
I didn't.
Of the first one? It was good.
It looked really good.
It was like a really good, solid shooter that you should kill a bunch of Nazis. There was nothing too fancy about it. It was just like a really solid shooter.
I was at a point when I didn't have a lot of time to game while my kids were asleep, and I was watching them all the time and taking care of. I was like staying home with them, so I was like, I'm not gonna ever have time because I was working nights and then
yeah. Well, and now it's like a fairly violent game. I'm actually really excited that they're putting it on the Switch so I can play it handheld and not have it like on my big TV in the living room and stuff.
I know big boy games like that should be on the Nintendo platform.
I mean, it's not going to look as good as it would on like PS4 Pro or whatever, but I'm kind of excited to have it in the privacy of my hands and Doom and stuff like that.
That's probably
it's
where
pretty cool.
It belongs since you have a little one.
Little ones, yeah. Anyway, today we're talking about achievements and just badges of honor type stuff that's incorporated into games. How it's evolved, what we think of them, because I imagine that you and I have actually very different opinions on liking them or not.
We probably do, and my view has kind of shifted over the years too. So
Okay,
I kind of have like a differing perspective than I did maybe like 10 years ago.
Cool. So, but you found some cool notes just about the history, and you had dug up some stuff that actually I didn't really know. Do you want to dive into that a little bit and give like a quick little overview?
My first experience was with them on the 360, so I was looking them up to like figure out what year that was, but then I forgot, and I had read articles about this, but it was still just a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
So Atari, and I think it's 1982 that they started doing this. So Atari used to have a system where if you got a certain score,
right,
and you took a picture of it on your TV screen and mailed it to them, they mailed you back a physical patch.
That's really
like
cool.
A Boy Scout patch or something like that. And so you literally had,
like you could put it like on the arm of a jacket or like on a shirt or something.
Yeah, it was like a sewing patch, and you wore it literally, like you literally wore it on your sleeve, and it was like a true badge of honor in a very literal physical sense. I'm sure if some of you listeners out there, you probably have some. I know. I think Tony mentioned them to me once, and some people still have them.
He has one?
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool.
And one of my other coworkers, so people have still held on to these over the years, and they actually have patches from their game achievements, which is pretty crazy.
Cool. I mean, like you think about, like, because you have like the Destiny Age of Triumph shirt, right?
I do.
I guess I thought that was like sort of a newer thing where they could just like sell more merch online and stuff, but that's really cool. I didn't know that it went back that far.
Yeah, so it's not like Bungie started it. They've just kind of brought it back in a new era where you had to unlock enough game achievements to even own the t-shirt.
Which is actually really cool, like because among gamers, right, it's like, oh, I got this score or I got that piece of gear or something like that. But to bring that out into the world as like a physical thing to wear as bragging rights is actually really a cool thing, I think.
So after Atari did that, there was a couple games like in the early 90s that dabbled in it, but it wasn't like a whole system. It was like maybe some games that had achievements. And then the Xbox 360 in 2005 started releasing achievements for games. And that was kind of a revolution, and that you probably remember. I mean, we were in college together, living together.
And I remember just being annoyed to no end at those things, because it was, you would throw a grenade on an enemy and you'd get an achievement. It was just like, it was like just this token, meaningless. They were trying to make the game more engaging, but I don't know. I always thought they were, at that point at least, there were other ones that were cool that you would kind of pursue, but I felt like for the most part, the ones you would happen upon were just like, why is that even in?
Well, let's come back to that. So, so 2005, and then they added it to their Windows Live platform. From what I read, it was 2007. So, like, I was playing games like Fallout 3, I think, had them, and just some random like Windows games that I was playing, not on Steam. If it was like if you bought it on Windows, and it would sync up with your Live, including your Xbox Live account. So it was like you got extra gamer score if you cared about that. And then finally Sony got in on it in like 2008, and I think Steam started doing it a little bit before Sony. It's interesting because the 360 and the PS3, 360 did it for 3 years before Sony was finally like, oh, really? This trophy.
And they added the trophy thing with the platinum and all that stuff.
And so now they're kind of comparable, and we can dig into the differences. And then games like World of Warcraft added them in their game, and they kind of distinguish between like feats of strength and achievements, and we can talk about that. MMOs, I think, still popularly have them. Like Final Fantasy XIV still uses them. So that's kind of the where it's gone since 1983 or whatever, 1982 when Atari started doing it. I think since our experience, was the Atari thing in the early 90s games. I don't think we really started experiencing it until the 360. So why don't you talk about that a little bit more? Like when they first came out, it did seem like there were achievements for everything, like turning on the game and experiencing a level for the first time, you get an achievement.
But there were other cool things, like if you could go a little bit deeper and find those Easter eggs, and then the achievement would have like a funny name, like Halo comes to mind. That there was
Halo 3.
But yeah, it had some like these cool little Easter eggs where you would go and you'd find just this particular thing or something, and it would give you a little cleverly named achievement. And that stuff was pretty cool. To me, I never really understood like some of the more surfacey, you beat this level, and like even Little Nightmares or any of like those little story games. It's like you should play the game because you want to play the game and play through the story. Like, why is that an achievement to beat that level? It's not like you could have done it any other way. You know what I mean? It adds nothing to the game.
Well, and I think when the 360 first started doing achievements, I don't think they knew what to do with them. It was like
that's
kind of
probably
an experiment,
true.
You know?
Yeah.
Halo 3 is the first game that I can think of, and I'm sure there are others, but Halo 3 did some really cool stuff with achievements. They actually made it worthwhile. Finding skulls and stuff like that is probably
and that's what comes to my mind, where it's like if you headshot this many enemies, or like where it was like a sort of a more skill-based thing, and you kind of had to figure it out and decode some of that stuff. You're really into a game and you want to dive deeper into it. It gives you somewhere to go. It gives you all the cool little Easter eggs to discover for a game that you really love.
Right. Halo 3 also had this really cool achievement where if you got 49 out of like 75 achievements, 49 achievements, it was a lot. But if you did it, you got a special armor set for PvP. It was the Hayabusa, cool. It looked like a samurai set. Yeah. And the only way you could get that was from doing the bulk of the achievements in Halo 3. When it released 49, I think it was like 49 out of 50, but as they came out with some DLC, they expanded it out. But still, like getting the Hayabusa armor was a big deal.
And it almost reminds me of like on Portal, right? Like you could play through the game for the story and to solve the puzzles and stuff like that, but then each level had sort of like a challenge mode version, like you could only use this many portals or something like that. I think achievements used well and used right end up being that. They end up being like, okay, you played through the game, now go back and play through it with these challenge modes. When they're used right, I think that's how they feel a lot of times. It's like dive deeper and challenge yourself a little bit more, play the game differently on this next playthrough.
When it first came out, I got a little crazy with it. Like I felt like if I wasn't unlocking achievements or gamer score, I wasn't playing the right game. Like there'd be other games that would be out and I'd be like,
I remember you getting kind of crazy about it. I'm like, why do you care, dude?
I'm like, I gotta hit 20,000 or I'm only at 15,000 and all these other people are like 18. Like suddenly your overall gamer score started being kind of this like dick measuring, like, well, that guy sucks. He's only got 13,000 gamer score, you know? And I remember just being like kind of driven by how many points I could get. And
which from like a development standpoint, it's actually a really good mechanism for like sucking people into not just gaming, but gaming on a specific platform and getting your score high and having bragging rights on that platform.
Right, it was brilliant. I would even go so far as if I was playing like Halo 3 and I'd be up against another guy and I'd die or whatever, I'd like bring up his profile and I'd like console myself like, well, he's got 30,000 gamers.
Yeah, like what could I have done?
What could I have done? Like I'm up against a juggernaut. Like this is impossible. And like, or shame if like somebody with significantly less gamer score
guy
than me.
with 5%.
Sometimes I'd even look at their games and be like, oh fuck, this guy he got it all on Lemmings or whatever. Like I'd be like, oh, this guy sucks. He's not that good. He's only he may have more gamer score than me, but he did it playing easy games.
And it's like a weird thing. It's like part of it is a cool social thing because it's like you could see what other players played and like how much they played those types of games, and it was kind of cool to have that snapshot of who this anonymous person was online and what kind of games they played. And then the other side of it was it's sort of just a brilliant suck you down a black hole of just like meaningless competition.
I feel like you'd even ask me like, hey, you want to play this? And be like, oh, I've gotten all the achievements on that. And you'd be like,
so
but
what?
It's fun. Like, it's a fun game. Don't you want to play it? What is a fun game? I don't know what that is anymore. What's kind of crazy is one of my coworkers, he's young, he's a young student, and I think he's 19 or 20. And I was like, what are you doing? It was the end of summer, and he's like, I got to get 100,000 gamer score. He's a Xbox One. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm just going through games, got to get that gamer score up. And I was like, I guess, I was like, that's cool. I was there, probably about your age. Like, I remember what it was like to be obsessed, and so I guess it's not like, it's still relevant. People are still doing it. I guess it's still a bragging right, but now that I've gotten older, I think I've gone more towards the in-game reward type thing. Like I don't really give a shit about the number.
Yeah, and that's really more how I've always been. It's like if it'll unlock a cool gun or a piece of armor or a level or something like that, sure. Or if it's the thing itself has to be. Portal is a good example. That was like the challenge mode stuff. Like I really got into that and played the crap out of that because I liked the puzzle solving mental challenge of it. Yeah. Not even though there was like little achievements achievements that went with it. That's not why I did it. And in my mind, I think that's how those things should be inherently rewarding, and then you also get the achievement for it.
Yeah, and I think that's more where it's gone. MMOs do this now really well, and it started with, for me at least, in World of Warcraft, where you actually started getting titles. So you would do these crazy things and crazy combinations. Some of them were hard, some of them weren't, and you get really cool titles, and you would attach it to your character, avatar, whatever, in the game, and, you know, everyone saw you were Captain whatever, you were Blood Sail Admiral. That was one of the crazier ones I did. It was nuts. You had to camp outside of a neutral NPC town, non-playable characters, so they were a bunch of just computer players. Yeah. And you had to murder them. Okay. Kill all of them until you were hated, and you had to grind out these crazy levels of reputation until you were like hated by every goblin in the world. And if you like stepped foot in their city, they would kill you on the spot. And other players could go in there, but you couldn't because you were hated. And you got a little pirate captain hat and that summoned a parrot. Yeah. And you got the title Blood Sail Admiral.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So I took a lot of time. And then what's crazy is I took the time then to reverse it and win their affections back over.
That's hardcore,
dude, it took so much time to do that. You knew somebody who had Blood Sail Admiral was probably a little crazy, but they had put the time in to get that.
See, I mean, like in MMOs though, it's like if you like do this raid on this mode, you get this piece of gear or something like that, right? Or this instance or whatever the hell you want to call them, depending on what the game is. Even that is like a very public badge of honor. Yeah, you might have gotten the achievement, but that really wasn't the point. You get like something a little bit more tangible within that world to give you those bragging rights. And stuff.
And by that point, I had done a lot less of like inspecting a character to actually read through their achievement. I would say even now, I've still occasionally brought up like my friends, like you or Jimmy and like Destiny 1, be like, oh, I wonder, have they gotten them all? Like, I think I did it with you in Uncharted 4, just to see like, had I got more headshots.
We had the headshot thing.
Yeah.
That was cool though, because it actually cross-referenced sort of, right? You could actually see the other person's thing.
Right. So one aspect of it that was cool was it tracked your stats in the game. So you'd just be randomly playing through the story, and I'd get a headshot, and it would say, that's your 30th headshot. Alec has this many headshots in a row. And I'd be
that's
like,
not an achievement per se, but that's like a cool integration of stats where you can very proactively compete with each other.
And it did kind of cause me to get a little more competitive. I was like, oh, he's got a streak of 10. I can do better than that. I can do better than that.
Stuff like that would actually be really cool in like Battlefield or something like that, you know?
Yeah, Uncharted's my only experience with it, like popping up in game is like just a subtle thing.
Which seems like such a cool mechanic that they could bring to other games. I wonder why developers haven't done that a little bit more, where it automatically can reference it with your friend's stats.
Yeah,
that's a cool...
I mean, you see it some in like racing games, which we know now that you don't play, but you'll see it like in Trials Fusion. When you do a race, you're actually racing the ghosts of your friends as well. So it'll load like my brother in, or
that would be fantastic if you could do that in shooters like Battlefield or Destiny or whatever. It's like last time your friend, this friend, ran this strike, they got this. Last time your friend played deathmatch on this Battlefield map, they got this score. That would be a cool, like...
That would be really cool.
Push you on to play better and that kind of thing. That would be great,
But even still, I've physically brought up like our Uncharted 4 achievements just to see, because that got me thinking about it. But like, have I done that between you and me and any other? I've never done a Battlefield. Like, I've never looked at your trophies in Battlefield.
That's one where actually, because I get a little bit competitive on that. That I do, I'll look at like, okay, they're like level 70. What could I have done? Like sometimes I'll go through those motions with
Will you?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool though. And it's more gripped by the game in that sense, right? You've got to be passionate about that game in order to bring it up. Not that I was particularly like competitive in the story mode of Uncharted 4, but seeing those pop-ups made me go, I wonder what else I've done.
I think it was the Nate Drake collection where it tracked it. And
was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was.
But I think you're right. Like, I think it should add, that's where I fall on the achievements thing. It should add dimension and add like another layer of interest to the gaming experience. It shouldn't just be this little token thing. You beat this level that was unavoidable if you like played this game.
Yeah, it's been kind of weird because I didn't play the PS3 like at all. So I played 360, and now I've pretty much switched all the way to I've switched all the way to PS4. And so like having trophies pop up now, I'm like, oh, is this a thing? Like I've like forgotten, but it was kind of jarring because I played through the Final Fantasy VII. It's not the remake. It's just the port or whatever, the HD port. Yeah. And I was getting trophies in it. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, no, I've already beat 7. Like, I did this when I was a child. This is
odd, right? To play a game from that time, and now it has these things like injected into it. It seems a little bit like a violation of the space.
It did.
I was playing SteamWorld Dig 2, and really anything on the Switch, I think, because there's not really an achievement system on Switch.
Right.
And I was thinking about that as we were preparing for this episode. And I was like, it was actually like really nice to just like play through a game start to finish and not have arbitrary shit showing up on the sides of my screen that I'm not personally interested. It was nice to just play through a game and enjoy the game for what it is. And the game itself was inherently rewarding. Yes. I actually have been really, that's something I didn't think about consciously enjoying on playing games on Switch that I actually really do like.
Yeah, Nintendo never really bought into it. They don't give a shit. Like, it's not like when I'm playing Smash or anything on Wii U. Like, I didn't get trophies. I mean, you unlock in-game stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, Mario Kart's the same. You unlock wheels or you get coins and they're in-game rewards, but not just these arbitrary little dings that are showing up on your screen.
Yeah, I've been playing Fallout 4 on PC, and I've done mods. I may have talked about it with Rhino.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing ridiculous shit, adding jetpacks and looking like Commander Shepard and stuff. But it's like, well, you're doing mods, we're turning off achievements. I don't give a shit. Like, it's Fallout. Like, I don't care what, I don't care what it pops up on Steam. Like, I don't know, because Steam, to me, even though they've tried to do like trading cards and they've tried to do stuff with it, I just I couldn't buy into it. I was like, I don't care about this. Like, it's a computer game. I'm just playing it for fun. And I think without that in-game reward, it's harder to be motivated.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Even in Destiny, which we play a lot, I did the stuff to get the shirt. Because that was a physical thing that I wanted. But then other people were like, well, I got 100% it. Like some of the guys in DoD Charlie. And that's cool because I think to a completionist, this is great. Like, this is perfect for somebody who wants to 100% everything. Right. And if the game doesn't build it in, well, then Sony did or Microsoft did. Like, you have something to shoot for.
Right.
But for me, I was like, well, I don't really care about the trophies by themselves.
Right.
Like, I don't need somebody to look at my profile and see that I 100%ed Destiny.
Yeah.
But if I can wear the shirt,
right.
All right, now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
You know?
See, and that I really do think that's a cool thing. Bringing those achievements, bringing that into the real world with shirts and patches and stuff that's really exclusive. Because gaming is for us and for a lot of people like a true hobby. You know, it's a true like things we do with our free time. And people wear shirts for like their sports teams and stuff or whatever. Like whoever won the Super Bowl that year, like they buy the shirt or whatever. Like, it's cool that you play Destiny start to finish and you got this t-shirt to like commemorate that thing and stuff.
Right.
I think that's a really good use of that, completing things in game, getting these achievements and then having something tangible to show for it. I think that's a good use of that type of system.
Yeah, actually, I think it was a week ago. It was Sunday and a bunch of people wearing their football jerseys.
Yeah.
And Ashley was like, oh, I guess it's game day. And I was wearing my Destiny shirt. Yeah. I was like, well, I'm wearing my sports jersey. This is my game day. Okay. So I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Do you think the adding the 100%, all the crazy trophies, do you think at some point it becomes like petty or like too much of a temptation or just a way of getting hooks into like that completionist person? Do you think it's like good to put that in? Well, it's not really arbitrary, but do you think it's good to add that function? Or do you think it's forced sometimes? I don't know how I feel about either way, but do you think it's too tempting to do that? Like, is it kind of messed up to do that to people? Because, you know, some people like have to 100% it.
I personally lean toward yes. I think a lot of the time it's a cheap way. It's a shortcut path to get people to put more time into your game rather than there being inherent replay value like already built into the thing. It's like collect these, like how hard is it to put in like some tokens around the world that someone has to like go collect and like have a really hard achievement for that and stuff. I do think it's sort of an arbitrary way to get people to just sink more time into your game. Yeah, absolutely. I do lean more that way. I have a friend who is a pretty serious gamer. He's got a YouTube channel. We should actually probably have him on it at some point. We'll
get around to
talk to him before we call him out or anything. But
yeah,
like,
this is probably not the way to ask
Yeah,
him.
but he's very like, I got the platinum trophy on that game and and like I never know how to respond because my gut reaction to that is I really do not care at all. And like why do you care? I'm extremely biased in the opposite direction. Like the game should be good in its own right, and chasing the platinum trophy or whatever the Xbox equivalent is a total waste of time, in my opinion.
It's funny because I'm not even sure how to answer my own question, but I think I'm okay with it to a point. Like, there are some things like in Destiny, you got to jump all the way up to the peak, and it was stupid, but then when you did it, it was really satisfying.
Right.
There was a achievement in Halo Reach called If They Came to Hear Me Beg, and what you had to do is you had to sprint off this cliff and jump on top of an elite enemy. They were called elites, but the aliens alien that was walking by, and you had to assassinate him from the air. The fall should have killed you, but if you got the assassination, you lived.
Okay.
And you had to get this achievement.
That's kind of a cool one.
It took me an hour of jumping off this cliff over and over, and I'd jump, and they like wouldn't even look at me, and I would just humiliatingly like flop. Because when you died in Halo, it was like the doll mechanic, and my guy would just like blop on the ground.
Yes.
I'd be like, reload, try it again. And the amount of times I plummeted to my death was humiliating.
Yeah.
And Ashley was like, all right, it's time to give this up. And I was like, no, I got to get this shit. And I got it. She was like, are you happy? And I was like, Actually, yeah, I was pretty sad. And even to this day, I'm like, that was a badass achievement. Like, I fucking landed that assassination.
Yeah.
So part of me wants to say, like, if it's just an arbitrary bullshit thing, then give it up. But if you really want to take the time and you put in kind of these, like, jump puzzles or things, and something that's not even necessarily designed to do that, and if a player's dedicated enough to get it, well,
some of that stuff is cool. I mean, because that was very true to like the Halo experience. I think like those little Easter eggs and those kind of things. Like, I mean, we've talked before about Breath of the Wild, where like every mountaintop you go up on is satisfying because there's always something there. And so even though the little stupid Korok seeds or whatever, there's like 900 of them. I haven't found them all, and I'm not probably going to find them all, but it's like, it's kind of satisfying to climb up a mountain just to see what's there. And even if it's just a little seed that's up there, it's kind of rewarding because exploration and climbing and finding what's on over that next hill is like such a key part of Breath of the Wild that it is satisfying. So I don't know. I'm not against them in that capacity. I think it has to be true to the game, and it has to be these little things that really feel rewarding to discover. Yeah, I think that's a fair point, and I could see why that would be satisfying to leap off a cliff and assassinate an enemy in Halo.
It looked so cool. Like the animation was unique to that.
Yeah.
And so your character like landed on the guy's head and like stomped him to death.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the sweetest thing. Like, it was so cool. I guess technically I could have YouTubed it, right? If I just wanted to see it. But the fact that it was me who did it was satisfying.
Yeah.
However,
that's a topic for another day too, though, because I think there's a lot of that, like alternate endings and a lot of those things that we played growing up. It was like you had to do it, or you had to be at your friend's house while they were like getting that separate ending that you didn't get or something. And now it's like it's like all 50 endings compilation on YouTube or whatever.
Or like the Halo 5 legendary ending. There's no way you could have.
And I'm pretty guilty. Like if I find out there's alternate endings, or if I find out there's a cool achievement with an Easter egg, I go look it up on YouTube.
Do you?
Yeah.
I feel pretty dirty doing that.
I do too, but but
I'd rather be caught looking at porn, I think. No, it's just porn. No, please. No, I'm not looking up a hidden ending. But honestly, like, it's pretty rare that I do it. Sometimes I'll only do it if I trade it in the game, or I really don't want to replay through it again. But even that's pretty rare. I don't have my Xbox One anymore, and I saw the Halo 5 Legendary ending was up. Yeah. I still haven't looked at it. Yeah. I should. I physically cannot do it. I didn't get the Legendary ending. I beat it on Heroic.
You still haven't looked at it?
I haven't looked at it.
We should do that after the...
I'd rather... Anyway,
and for actually Arkham City, the third one, Arkham.
Oh, see, Knight. I did that myself.
So I beat the game, and then but there was like the quote real ending after, if you had like gone and rounded up all the criminals and all that kind of stuff. I just went and YouTubed that.
Yeah, you told me that, and you're like, well, there's some stupid little hidden ending if you do everything. I'm like, well, then you know where to find me. I'll be doing everything. So I do have a hard time.
You're much more of a completionist than I am.
I mean, within reason, and you can't see this, but I'm doing air quotes within reason.
But that game Arkham Knight was a good example of like the game was satisfying just in and of itself if you played as far as I played, just beating the basic game. But then
you
it was
didn't even save Catwoman.
Yeah, who cares?
She's still sitting there with that bomb around her neck.
She'll be fine though,
dude. She's too much of a babe.
She got herself into the mess. She can get herself out.
It's your fault she was into it.
More or less.
This isn't an ethics episode.
Nevertheless. But that was a good example of like it gave people who wanted to keep playing and do more stuff, it gave those people somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And that's a good use of that.
Yeah. So if it can be done well, I'll do it. And if there's in-game rewards, I'll definitely do it. If it's just kill 50 tanks with a rock, I'm not going to do that. Why should I do that? Because it ups your score, gives you an extra shiny thing. No, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Not anymore. So I'm better than I used to be. But if you're out there and you're chasing those trophies, like, I still feel for you. I could do my Hunger Games salute or whatever. Like, you have my sympathy.
There are periods of life, I think, where you're like, I mean, because I played Left 4 Dead pretty extensively to like try to run through it this particular way. And so, but there was like a particular phase of my life where I played games like that.
And you weren't doing it for Sony, though. You were doing it for
personal pride.
Personal pride, and because that's the game you were going to play through 5 times anyway.
Right, yeah.
I mean, there does kind of come a point where you're like, I might as well, like, try and change it up.
I'm still enjoying the experience. And
yeah, if I'm going to play it anyway, I might as well check out the achievements. But
True. Yeah.
I haven't even brought up the achievements list on Destiny 2.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that, actually.
Because I don't care. I mean, I know it's not going to be anything in game. I'm going to feel really stupid if it is, but yeah, I haven't even looked.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked.
Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode, please go give us money at patreon.com/SaveEveryUniverse and listen to all of our episodes. 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 Okay.
You know what's weird?